MahaShivaratri. Tomorrow is MahaShivaratri here in the United States as well as in India, March 4th, 2019. It's a special night when the devotees of Lord Shiva pray to him, are in his meditation, think about him. A lot of us who fast once a year fast for Lord Shiva on MahaShivaratri. What is MahaShivaratri? Shivaratri comes every month. It is the night before the new moon, where the moon is in a crescent shape. It's at the weakest because it has the least amount of light from the sun. And it's called a night of Shiva. It's Krishna Chaturdashi, that's the tithi, as we call it in the Indian Panchang system. But the one that comes in right before spring, sometime in February or March, is a really special one. It's the one where the moon is at the weakest amongst all the 12 cycles that it goes through in the year. And Shiva is known to hold the moon on his forehead, so that the moon can shine and the world can get some light from the moon. There is a story behind it. Moon Chandra, the moon god, was married to 27 of Daksha's daughters. Daksha is a Prajapati. He's one of the sons of Brahma, and Daksha had several daughters. I think it was 60 or over 60, out of which he married 27 to the moon god. Moon, or Chandra, the Hindu name, didn't love all of them equally. His most beloved wife was Rohini. Of course, the other 26 got really offended. They went and complained to Daksha. Daksha gave warning to Moon, and Moon said, I don't care. I love Rohini the most. So Daksha places a curse on Moon, and the curse is that the moon will slowly fade away. As the moon is fading away, it goes and takes shelter in the ocean right behind the horizon, and a lot of life that is dependent on moonlight, especially some herbs and some plants that are nocturnal, begin to suffer. And as the story goes, the gods go and pray to Lord Shiva, and as the moon is almost about to fade away, Lord Shiva picks up the moon and places it on his forehead. Why is it important? In Vedic astrology, the moon represents our mind, and our mind can get distracted by all kinds of things in the world and can get very, there's a Hindi word for it called chanchal, or very distracted and disturbed, and it begins to fade away from its real purpose, fade away in the distractions of the world. And if you pray to Shiva, he holds your mind and brings it stability as it is fading away, so that we can still rejoice in the light of the moon. There is another mythological story wherein the gods and the demons wanted the immortal nectar of life, and they were churning the milky ocean, and the first thing that comes out of that milky ocean before they get the immortal nectar is a lot of poison. And so the gods and the demons pray to Shiva, and Shiva comes, he consumes the poison, and Parvati, his wife, sees that she's really afraid for Shiva's life, so she goes and holds his throat, and all the poison is collected in Shiva's throat. That's why he's called Neelakantha. Neel meaning blue, Kantha meaning the throat. And his body becomes feverish, and so people pour on MahaShivaratri, they pour water, milk, ghee onto the Shiva lingam to cool down, the lingam. And that's also a metaphor for our mind. As you churn the mind, uh, if you think of the mind as a milky ocean, to reach the immortal nectar, which is like you churn the mind to really get to God, to get to your true soul, the first thing that comes up is all the poison. And poison here being our miseries, our sufferings, our attachments, all that comes up. And for us to rise above that, to be able to bear all that poison, we hand it over to Shiva. We hand it over to Lord Shiva. I was going through something similar in the past couple of months, and had a lot of suffering and misery and mind chatter in different areas of life. There was so much misery that it felt debilitating. And as the days started closing towards MahaShivaratri, I remembered the story of the Milky Ocean and placed my poison, my suffering onto Shiva. I handed over to him for him to consume it, for him to hold it for me so I can bear it. And there's a lesson for all of us. Our joys, our happiness, the fruits of this world don't belong to us. They belong to the higher being. I call him Shiva. You can call him anything. Also, the poison and the suffering of the world belongs to him. Like Krishna told Arjuna that our job in this world is only to do our karma, to perform our karma. The fruits of it, whatever it is, belongs to the divine, belongs to the Almighty. And Shiva holding the crescent moon on his head, which symbolizes time, is actually an invitation to all of us to rise beyond time, to rise beyond the goods and bads, the suffering, the misery, the gains of being in this world, being in this whole realm of time and space, to rise above that, to transcend about that, and really experience Shiva. Shav in Sanskrit is a dead body. Shiva is the one who has transcended death, who has transcended time, who has transcended space. And that's the invitation. That's the invitation of this night, MahaShivaratri, for us to meditate on Shiva, on the immortality of it all, to really look at what is real and to let go of what is not, and to really look at the games of the mind, the games and the phases that the moon takes us through, our mind takes us through, and really, really look at what is real deep within our soul. We all have Shiva, or the one that is beyond time and space within us. And the invitation of MahaShivaratri is that we access that space. Astrologically, this MahaShivaratri, the new moon that happens at the beginning of spring, happens in the sidereal zodiac of Aquarius. Sometimes it also happens in Capricorn. We have right now Saturn in sidereal sign of Sagittarius, casting its one-way aspect on the sun and moon during Shivaratri and the new moon. And also Mercury, our intellect, is stationary in Pisces. It's stationary right before it goes retrograde. Again, Pisces is a sign where Mercury is considered to be debilitated, and when it goes retrograde, we start backing up in our psyche and being a little hesitant about things that Mercury represents, and double check, recheck things like contracts, writing, communication, our ability to speak, our relationships with colleagues, anything of those sort, technology. It's a great time to really back your hard disk up. But overall, really, instead of going through the mind chatter of the world, the invitation of this day is to focus your attention and concentration on Shiva, or the one beyond time and space, and really see and hear what really matters, or be willing to see and hear the truth. Happy MahaShivaratri.